In the twilight of history, where myths intertwine with reality and shadows reveal the complexities of the human heart, lies the figure of Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of Egypt. Picture a sun-drenched afternoon on the banks of the Nile, the river's waters glistening like liquid gold, serenely reflecting Egypt's majestic skyline. Across this ancient landscape, whispers of ambition, intrigue, and desire weave through the air, as if even the breeze is reluctant to disturb the secrets held within the walls of her opulent palace. But what if the stories told beneath the flickering lamplight, the tales of beauty, seduction, and betrayal, mask a far more profound narrative? In a world defined by political machinations and power plays, Cleopatra emerges not merely as a seductress but as a shrewd and politically astute leader, a symbol of resilience amidst an empire in turmoil. As we navigate this historical odyssey, let us cast aside preconceived notions and allow the kaleidoscope of her life to unfold, revealing a woman whose existence challenges us to reconsider the very essence of power itself. Draped in luxurious silk and adorned with ornaments that catch the eye, Cleopatra stands as a paradox. The granddaughter of Ptolemy I, a general of Alexander the Great, she is the embodiment of Hellenistic culture, yet she clings fiercely to her Egyptian roots, a queen caught in a deluge of cultural and political expectations. Her court is a stage and every move is a calculated performance. How much of her allure is real? How much is artifice? As the grand scions of Rome lay their eyes upon her, each becomes enthralled, captivated not just by her legendary beauty, but also by the intellect that lies within a mind that in a male-dominated world seeks to navigate the treacherous waters of diplomacy with grace and cunning. Amidst the lavish feasting and intoxicating music that echo through her halls, there exists a palpable tension, a realization that these fleeting moments of reverie cloak deeper existential struggles. The political landscape of the late Roman Republic is fraught with rivalry and chaos. Rome looms like a leviathan, its hunger for territory and dominance unfathomable. The question arises, can a woman poised at the precipice of loss reclaim her sovereign power in a landscape teetering on the brink of collapse? As whispers of conflict grow louder, they turn into roars, a rumble felt even here in the heart of Alexandria, where ambition is as alive as the sea currents that lap against the shores. Each wave carries with it the tremors of a nation in decline, and yet Cleopatra stands fearless, her heart ablaze with the same fiery spirit that once birthed mighty pharaohs. With her she carries not just the weight of her title but the hopes of her people, a complex web of loyalty, legacy, and longing woven into her very being. But beneath the gilded veneer lies a poignant truth. The delicate balance of power is often maintained through her relations with men of immense consequence. Julius Caesar, with his promise of stability against the backdrop of civil strife, and Mark Antony, whose passion echoes through the annals of time, frame her narrative, yet do they truly define it? As their eyes meet across long banquet tables filled with luxuries of the world, one wonders what thoughts flicker through her mind. Is she their equal partner or merely a strategic pawn on a chessboard of empires? Still, the story refuses to unfold simply in black and white. It is a narrative layered with colors both vibrant and dull, much like the textiles that drape her figure. She traverses the treachery of political alliances as though she were navigating through a sun-scorched desert, where every choice could lead to oasis or despair. Through her choices, the true essence of her character begins to emerge, a figure driven not solely by desire, but by an unyielding will to survive in a patriarchal world that threatens her very existence. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting a golden hue across the Nile, the air thickens with unspoken words and unfathomable ambitions. What if Cleopatra was more than merely a vessel of beauty, a character in the tales of men? What if she was the architect of her own legend, the one who devised the strategies, who scorned those who sought to define her? With each passing moment, as history marches inexorably onward, her story entwines within the larger narrative of human ambition with its eternal struggles and desires. In this crucible of love and power, the stakes grow ever higher. The fate of Egypt hangs in a delicate balance, and with it, the fabric of the Roman world teeters towards chaos. Events will spiral, the Roman civil wars loom like thunderheads on the horizon, each rumble vibrating through the earth, a harbinger of the bloodshed to come. Caught in this tempest, Cleopatra's path intersects with history's greats, decisions made in the heat of passion, rivalries fueled by ambition, all leading to an inevitable confrontation. As silhouettes of great ships cut through the twilight, we sense the approach of destiny. Each wave rocks the shores of time, carrying with it the question that has lingered since the days of her reign. What is the true nature of power? Is it held in the hands of those who wield swords or in the hearts of those who dare to dream? Cleopatra, ever the enigmatic figure, embodies this struggle, a woman molded by her time but also a formidable force in its own right. As we peel back the layers of her life, her beauty, her lovers, the alliances forged and broken, we uncover a narrative that is as much about her legacy as it is about the very essence of humanity itself. At the heart of this tale, much like the thrumming pulse of the Nile, lies the question, Can vulnerability and strength coexist, and can they bend history to their will? Thus we find ourselves captivated, drawn an inch closer to the spectral figure of Cleopatra. Her life, a canvas brushed with ambition and desire, intrigue and struggle, reflects the timeless quest for identity amidst the dynastic shifts of power. She is not merely a queen shrouded in myth, but a message from the past, begging us to listen, to question, and ultimately to understand. As the lens of history sharpens, beckoning us deep into the labyrinthine corridors of her existence, the possibilities shimmer like the waters of the Nile, holding within them not just her story, but the very essence of a world at the crossroads of history. The tale of Cleopatra is far from over. It beckons, daring us to dive deeper into the enigma that was her life, and perhaps what it reveals about our own humanity. In the cradle of the Mediterranean, where the golden sands of Egypt meet the azure waters of the Nile, a rich tapestry of civilization has unfolded, a canvas painted not only by the strokes of triumph, but also by the shadows of despair. To understand Cleopatra VII, we must first immerse ourselves in the world from which she rose, a realm where agriculture and commerce thrived, and the very land breathed the whispers of countless generations. Each grain of sand tells a story, each ripple in the river a testament to the lives woven into the fabric of Egypt. The Nile, that lifeblood of the Egyptian civilization, winds its way through parched deserts and fruitful plains, providing sustenance and spiritual nourishment. It is both a source of abundance and a highway of trade, connecting Egypt to distant empires. Along its banks, the bustling markets of Alexandria hum with the vibrancy of life. Traders from Greece, Syria, and beyond barter spices, silks, and ideas, creating a melting pot of cultures that shapes the very identity of the realm. Here, the legacy of Alexander the Great intertwines with the ancient traditions of the pharaohs, painting a dynamic portrait of a cosmopolitan society in flux. In this world, Cleopatra is not merely born as a result of lineage, but emerges from a crucible of cultural fusion. The Ptolemaic dynasty, having inherited the mantle of leadership from Alexander, embodies the synthesis of Greek and Egyptian traditions, an endeavor to unite two worlds often at odds with one another. The Ptolemies studied the Egyptian ways even as they ruled with Greek customs, creating a hybrid society rich in philosophical thought, art, and religion. The temples that dot the landscape serve as reminders that while one may wear a diadem, it is the loyalty of the people that is one's true crown. Yet beneath this sophisticated veneer lies the turbulence of power struggles that form the very bedrock of Cleopatra's ascent. The Hellenistic world, fractured by the ambitions of powerful generals and the relentless march of Rome, is laden with tensions that threaten the fragile equilibrium of her homeland. The shifting allegiances and burgeoning enmities ripple through every layer of society, a peasant witnessing the ambition of noblemen, a merchant feeling the weight of tariffs imposed by a distant authority, or an artist grappling with the duality of identity. It is within this melange that Cleopatra will craft her narrative, deftly interweaving her fate with that of those surrounding her. Each decision she faces holds monumental implications. At the core resides the delicate balance of tradition and innovation, a reality echoed in the rituals practiced in reverence of the ancient gods. Ra, Osiris, and Isis, divinities of the sun, the afterlife, and motherhood, do not merely exist in the temples but inhabit the daily lives of Egyptians, shaping their perceptions and actions. Religion is the compass guiding Cleopatra, a rich tapestry of spirituality woven with the threads of political necessity. To be both queen and priestess is a mantle she bears with fierce resolve. Yet amidst the divine there are earthly concerns that tug at the fabric of society. The agrarian economy, upon which Egypt's prosperity relies, faces the unpredictable rhythms of nature, high waters that flood the fertile land and droughts that swallow the crops. Peasants toil under the sun, their backs bent but spirits unyielding, knowing well that the field's yield sustains not just their families but the entire kingdom. The tension begins to brew, a disconnect grows between the pleasures of the affluent and the struggles of the laborers. In the opulence of her palace, Cleopatra watches the dichotomy unfold, aware that while luxury enriches the soul, the discontent of the masses solidifies the ground upon which her reign stands. Further complicating this tapestry are the Coptic traditions, the emergence of new belief systems, early whispers of Christianity that mingle with long-standing pagan practices. The interplay creates a canvas of uncertainty, shaping public discourse and revealing a societal restlessness. What does it mean to rule in such an environment? Cleopatra, astute and perceptive, navigates this religious kaleidoscope with political savvy, seeking to define her image and solidify her power in a time when uncertainty reigns. It is here that we witness a woman becoming a myth in her own time, a pas de deux of life as she gracefully maneuvers between different worlds, collecting the shards of culture and piecing them together to form her identity. As Cleopatra unfurls her wings, her ambition sharpens under the lens of destiny. Each political maneuver, each alliance forged with formidable men like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony not only fortifies her rule but reveals her mind. In the heart of these machinations lies a deeper psychological landscape, one filled with the weight of inherited responsibility and the spectre of legacy. What would future generations whisper of her, queen, lover, or ruler? Each choice she makes, intertwined with the fates of mighty empires, builds not just her narrative but serves as a measure of her thousand-year legacy. In Alexandria, she is not just a ruler but a living symbol of the convergence of human aspiration and folly. The Grand Library, home to scrolls filled with the knowledge of the ancients, stands as an echo of the rich intellectual heritage she seeks to nourish. Markets vibrate with the pulse of commerce, the scent of spices and incense hanging heavy in the air, but it is the stories whispered amongst the people, the plights, the triumphs, the whispers of affection, that forge the true essence of her reign. For every sumptuous feast held in opulent halls, there lies a peasant dreaming of the intricacies that govern their lives, setting the stage for a historical drama where even the faintest heartbeat resonates within the corridors of power. In this landscape, the subtle tensions rise as Rome's insatiable thirst for expansion compels Cleopatra to engage with the figureheads of this leviathan. Her relationships, initially forged as strategic alignments, morph into something more profound, yet within the closeness lies a gnawing distance. What is love in the shadow of power? The spectre of ulterior motives haunts every interaction, each moment a precarious balancing act between desire and duty. In this realm defined by ambition, will Cleopatra be remembered for her allure, or will history ultimately write her as the architect of her destiny? As the sands of time slip through grasping fingers, Egypt stands at a crossroads, caught in the currents of a larger tide, a tide represented by looming armies and political maneuverings that swirl around the Mediterranean. Fate is neither fixed nor immutable. It is perpetually sculpted by the hands of humans, frail yet unyielding in their desires. With the seasoned tale of Cleopatra unfolding before us, a question emerges like a whisper upon the Nile. How does an individual's ambition reshape not just their story, but the very contours of civilization? Here we find echoes of the greater dialogues of human experience, fragile dreams clashing with the realities of power, ambitions that ebb and flow like the tides, washing upon the sands of our consciousness, and the silent understanding that even the grandest narratives are composed of the smallest of details. Cleopatra stands not merely as a monarch crowned in jewels, but as a testament to the complexities of human endeavor, consciousness individual yet collective, her legacy tethered not just to her reign but to the ongoing evolution of a world steeped in history's embrace. And so we venture further into this exploration, deeper into the heart of history that beckons us. As the currents of fate gather force behind Cleopatra, strong winds of change swirl about her, igniting our curiosity and revealing a portrait of determination that dares to challenge the passage of time. In this narrative, with every ripple crossing the surface of the Nile, we are reminded that true power often lies not just in the realm of kings and conquerors, but in the unyielding human spirit that propels us ever forward, daring to dream amidst the storms that threaten us all. With every pang of tension intertwined in her life, we find ourselves questioning the foundational myths we hold dear, uncovering the harsh realities beneath the opulence, and witnessing a figure forging a path through the annals of history with an assertion to alter the very landscape upon which she stands. The stage is set, the players are moved, the sands are shifting beneath our feet. What awaits at the end of this journey? Will we uncover the true Cleopatra, the architect of her own destiny, or simply witness the unfolding of a tragic tale? The answers lie ahead, beckoning us into the depths of their allure. In the brick-and-mud architecture of Alexandria, splendid and diverse, life flows in a rhythm dictated by the cycles of the Nile and the ambitions of its inhabitants. The grandeur of the city rises like a luxurious mirage, with its towering libraries and busy marketplaces offering a stark contrast to the humble dwellings of the common folk. In every alley, the scent of baked bread dances through the air, mingling with the rich aroma of stews simmering in earthen pots, each meal a humble tribute to the earth that nourishes both body and spirit. The laughter of children echoes amidst the clamor of bartering voices. They play amidst the shadows of great stone columns, remnants of a history that looms heavily over their everyday lives. Intrinsic to this vibrancy are the daily routines that weave the fabric of Egyptian society. Farmers, their hands calloused from labor, rise with the sun, capturing the first light against the vast golden fields that stretch toward the horizon. With each stride through furrows ripe for harvest, they embody an unyielding connection to the land, a legacy cultivated over millennia, infused with the reverence of ancient gods. Ra, the sun, blesses their toil. Under the watchful gaze of Osiris, they coax the earth not merely for sustenance, but for a deeper communion, an engagement with the cycles of life and death that bind them to tradition. The farmers work not only for survival, but seek to send their offerings into the temples that line the banks of the Nile, where priests enact rituals that tether the mundane to the divine. Families gather beneath palm trees, their roots deep within both tradition and the unwritten word, as they recount tales of gods and ancestors during twilight, the tapestry of their existence thickened by shared stories that pulse through generations. Here, the strength of familial bonds can uplift spirits, forging resilience amid hardship. Women weave their own intricate narratives, managing homes and cultivating gardens, their contributions vital yet often obscured by the historical narrative dominated by royal ambition and male heroism. And yet, in this daily dance of devotion, the specter of social hierarchy looms, starkly visible in the opulence that defines Cleopatra's palace. Her residence, an architectural marvel, stands in stark contrast to the simple homes of the majority. Lavishly decorated with imported silks and fine ceramics, adorned with frescoes that narrate grand tales of gods and heroes, it whispers of power and presents a stage where ambition intermingles with the divine. Here, Cleopatra exercises her authority, her very presence a fusion of Greek intellect and Egyptian mysticism. But even within the cacophony of privilege, the echoes of the masses can be felt, as their struggles reverberate against the walls of her court. In the labyrinthine corridors of her palace, courtiers discuss matters of state, their ambitions swirling like a dark cloud, filled with potential storms. This elite class, a mosaic of cultures including Greeks, Romans, and native Egyptians, encounters a familiar tension: the threat of regional powers and the insatiable appetite of Rome, which seeks to engulf their autonomy. For Cleopatra, the challenges are twofold. She must simultaneously navigate personal bonds with figures like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony while carrying the aspirations of her people. She knows that maintaining the facade of control is imperative to lessen the unrest that simmers just beneath the surface, where individuals long for recognition, a place in society, and the hope for a better future. Religion serves as an essential conduit between the rulers and the ruled, a living legacy that shapes daily life. The Hellenistic influence delicately intertwines with Egyptian deities, producing a religious tapestry rich in symbolism and ritual, a blend that Cleopatra champions in her quest for legitimacy. The great temples, fortress-like in their construction, stand as both awe-inspiring edifices and vital social centers where communities gather to honor deities and seek favor for bountiful harvests or health. Rituals performed within these sacred spaces carry the weight of collective hope, designed to resonate with the souls of every citizen and tie their well-being to the realm of their queen. Amidst the whispers of the sacred and the ordinary, the horizontal customs woven into the societal fabric reveal the essence of Egyptian identity, a celebrated blend of joy and sorrow, triumph and toil. On market days, bazaars become a microcosm of Egyptian life, bustling with traders and buyers as they navigate the narrow alleyways. Their voices meld, creating a textured sonic landscape filled with haggling and laughter, while vendors display colorful textiles, polished jewelry, and fruits that glisten under the sun. Every corner of the marketplace invokes emotions. The sweet, sticky aroma of honey wafts gently, igniting memories of festivals that glow with laughter and warmth, contrasting sharply with the darker shadows of economic dependence. Here, women gather to share gossip, forming their own cliques of support, knitting together the loose threads of community whilst remain curious and watchful. While striving to carve autonomy in a privileged male-oriented society, they embody resilience, their laughter echoing with rebellious undertones as they whisper dreams that no deity may take from them. Craftswomen and baker wives balance weariness with hope, turning everyday chores into acts of resistance against the vast powers that diminish them. Through shared rites, celebrations, and grief, they create their birthplace, a unique blend of existence challenging the prescribed norms of their time. It is against this vibrant backdrop, each individual, each breath, each unrecorded moment, that Cleopatra's narrative unfolds, reflecting the intricate dance of authority and aspiration. Underneath the palace's embroidered silks and the glow of oil lamps lurk formidable shadows. The queen herself, a dynamic character rebelling against her portrayal as solely a seductress, grapples with conflicting desires, an innate human need for connection and companionship intensifying each strategic alliance she forges. Knowing she must imbue each connection with intimacy, she struggles with the reality of being not just a ruler, but a woman maneuvering through her own vulnerability and strength. Compartmentalization becomes essential. Cleopatra carefully navigates a political landscape, a grand theater where even the most profound emotions must align with the directives of diplomacy. As she courts figures like Caesar and Antony, she transforms from a mere player into a maestro directing the orchestra of global ambitions. But beneath this guise of power lies the depth of her reality, a psychological landscape rife with loneliness and the realization that each encounter births potential peril. Love and treachery become intertwined. Mere mortals will always grapple with the duality of affection and self-preservation, a delicate dance that transcends generations. The spectacle of Alexandria itself becomes a character in this ongoing drama, each stone a vessel of history imbued with layers of triumph entwined with tragedy. The shimmering Mediterranean serves as both a resource and a constant reminder of incursions, as foreign ships loom on the horizon like ghosts, echoing the ambitions of distant empires. Will their arrival celebrate a new chapter or herald a tempest that divides her realm? As Cleopatra gazes into the distance, she feels the palpable tension in the air. A mixture of hope and impending doom saturates her every thought. As Cleopatra rises to meet the challenges ahead, the people remain key players in the narrative she crafts, their lives interwoven with her own in the unseen tapestry of history. They too dream under the same celestial canopy, each person a flickering flame beneath the night sky, yearning for stability, agency, and purpose within their precarious existence. Wrapped in daily routines that pulsate with life, Egypt stands at the precipice of decisions that will not only shape its future, but also redefine the resonance of souls forever entwined within its story. The cradle of Egypt cradles through time, saturating its sands and waters with the remnants of lives lived fully, brimming with contradictions and unyielding aspirations. Cleopatra becomes more than the sum of her choices. She emerges as a vital embodiment of a society steeped in complexities, lying just beneath the pall of historical narratives reduced to mere caricatures. In the quiet intimacy of shared hopes and whispered fears, she challenges us to delve deeper, beyond the myths in search of the heartbeat of a civilization, amidst the powerful currents of human experience, ever echoing in the silence of our own souls. So as the tapestry of ancient Egypt unfolds before us, we remain poised, lured by whispers of forgotten voices and enticed by the intricacies beneath the surface. What mysteries linger in the breaths taken by those who came before? Can we unveil the truths obscured by grandiose legend to understand not just who Cleopatra was, but who she might represent in the story of our own humanity? While destinies shift like the sands of the Nile, her story invites us further into an exploration not just of history, but of a universal tapestry that binds us to the very essence of life itself, a continuous exploration of the power woven into the heart of every human endeavor, reminding us all of our shared strivings, our struggles, and the dreams that ripple timelessly across the ages. As the sands of time drift forward, a sense of gravity coalesces within Egypt's bustling heart, an environment fraught with aspiration, rivalry, and necessity. At the center of this swirling tapestry is Cleopatra, whose ascent and reign represent not merely the ambitions of one ruler, but a dramatic intersection of cultures, power dynamics, and self-definition. Tracing the thread of her story leads us into the depths of political transformation, where ideologies clash and where the fates of nations rest delicately on her shoulders. When we gaze upon Cleopatra, we must consider her formative years, spent under the shadow of the Ptolemaic dynasty that had long governed Egypt with a mixture of audacity and complexity. This dynasty, infused with Hellenistic influences, had cultivated a ruling philosophy that blended Greek ideals with the deep-seated traditions of ancient Egypt. With its ancestry intertwined with both Alexander the Great's vision and the unique nuances of Egyptian spirituality, it birthed a unique synergy that would inform the identity of Egypt, a nation on the verge of monumental change. As Cleopatra ascended to the throne after the untimely death of her father, Ptolemy XII, she took on the task of navigating not only the sprawling expectations of her dynasty, but also the crucible that was political reality. Her early reign was marred by turbulence, a co-regency with her younger brother Ptolemy XII, who unwittingly became a pawn in power struggles that pitted the ambitious queen against established forces within the kingdom and the ever-looming threat from Rome. In the corridors of power, alliances were forged and broken at a rapid pace, each change sending ripples through the people who looked for stable guidance amid uncertainty. Cleopatra's relationship with Julius Caesar served as a pivotal moment, shifting the trajectory of her rule. Their union was not merely personal, but a calculated strategic alliance, designed to fortify her reign against her brother's ambitions and the encroaching grab of Roman power. Through this liaison, Cleopatra articulated her vision for Egypt, a vision that intertwined her personal ambitions with the fate of the nation itself, igniting a deeper yearning for self-determination amidst imperial constraints. This led to actual battles waged not just in fields, but within the hearts and minds of the people, creating an atmosphere electric with anticipation. Rome's insatiable appetite for expansion was not lost on the populace. The whispers of war seeped through the common spaces of Alexandria, yet even as they grappled with the immediate threats, the citizens remained transfixed by the broader implications of their reality. The influence of Rome permeated every aspect of life, as gladiatorial contests and political intrigue became both entertainment and psychological warfare. As Cleopatra realized the weight of her position, she sought to position Egypt not as a mere tributary of Rome, but as a co-architect of future opportunities. She met with Caesar amid the splendor of her palatial court, an encounter that saw the merging of two iconic legacies, her response to the overwhelming complexity of imperial dynamics. However, this alliance bore the seeds of both hope and precariousness, as loyalty transformed into a battleground for fluctuating sentiments. While Caesar opened doors, the corridors of Alexandria soon buzzed with the growing enthusiasm of hope, yet also trepidation, when his assassination in 44 BCE cast a long pall over the Mediterranean. The fabric of power unraveled, revealing the intricate and often harsh truths of ambition, betrayal, and renewal. Cleopatra, whose crucial decisions and navigation of alliances echoed the geopolitical shifts before her, found herself now standing at another precipice. It was through Mark Antony that she sought both love and political partnership anew. Antony's entrance into her life further escalated the tensions, not merely between idealism and ambition, but between individual aspirations and colossal historical forces. Their union, heavy with passion yet fraught with consequences, illustrated the complexity of balancing love and political necessity. Here, we see the dual pressures facing Cleopatra, as she fought for the future of a nation that vibrated with human emotion yet stood at the mercy of larger imperial tides. As alliances formed and dissolved, allegiances shifted like quicksand. The psychological landscape of her court became a fever dream, filled with subjects torn between manipulation and loyalty. Yet within this chaos, the response of the common people looked markedly different. As the opulence of Cleopatra's court ignited curiosity, it also stirred unrest. Noble conspirators within the palace echoed the discontent brewing among the populace, illuminating the fractures that ran deep through Egyptian society. The expanded struggle for power had far-reaching consequences. Cleopatra's internal awareness of these dynamics only intensified her resolve. She became not just a character in the narrative, but its definition. In these moments of complexity, where war pierced beyond the battlefields and intermingled with the societal thread, life burgeoned in an echo that rippled through the very fabric of Egyptian existence. The stories of families hoping to prosper and of farmers yearning for stability penetrated the grand political machinations. Amidst the courtiers scheming against one another lay a profound ache for security, the kind that could only achieve real meaning through mutual recognition shared between all ranks in society. Yet, history would not concede to the simplicity of these yearnings. The fabric of the political landscape grew increasingly volatile, culminating in the two iconic forces of Cleopatra and Antony against the imposing figure of Octavian, the future Augustus, who would forever alter the path toward Roman dominion and redefine the Mediterranean world. Their confrontation at the shores of Actium became not merely a battle of ships and soldiers, but a culmination of ideals clashing head-on, ambition met with the stark reality of desperation amidst the swirling currents of fate. In these turbulent moments, as Cleopatra witnessed the chaos unfold, a heavy weight circled her heart. She had seized every opportunity and taken every risk, creating a life that danced brilliantly against the tides of adversity. Her struggles mirrored those of her subjects, as both navigated the ramparts of hope confronting the relentless waves. This sense of shared vulnerability ignited empathy, even as she confronted devastating possibilities, the crumbling foundations of alliances that faltered under the weight of betrayal. The Battle of Actium, fueled by fierce loyalty, dreams of power, and tragically misguided strategies, spiraled into failure, eliciting irreversible shifts in the fates of Cleopatra and those who aligned with her. The sight of vessels burning, of hopes collapsing into the churning waves, marked the moment when illusion gave way to stark reality. For Cleopatra, retreating back to Egypt meant navigating an increasingly hostile environment, where the specter of her decisions eclipsed even her own semblance of agency. In those dwindling hours, amid illumination and devastation, it is crucial to underline that Cleopatra's legacy would become irrevocably entwined with the sentiments of an era long after her demise. Rome became the victor, yet the questions surrounding ambition, femininity, power, and identity danced hauntingly through time, challenging the narratives positioned as historical truths. Cleopatra's rise and fall reverberated with the core struggles of human endeavor, drawing us into a discourse that confirms her as a figure of depth, complexity, and dubious empowerment. The whispers of history echo in our minds, reminding us of the paradoxes that shape every individual: heroism and vulnerability, ambition and betrayal, life and death. As we hover over the precipice of a crumbling empire, we find ourselves questioning the nature of legacy, what threads remain true amid shifting sands, and how Cleopatra remains a beacon not only of culture, aspiration, and intellect, but a reminder of the intricate balance between individual choices and collective histories. In this unfolding narrative, amid the waves of change and turbulence, it becomes apparent that the essence of Cleopatra encapsulates something far greater than her immediately visible power. Her story reflects the turbulence of human emotion, the intricacies of personal and political ambition, and a palpable yearning to transcend the limitations of her world, an endeavor many can relate to in their pursuit of dignity and recognition. And as we journey deeper into the heart of this extraordinary tale, we find ourselves drawn toward the core of what it is to strive. Amid changing tides, the human landscape continues to reveal itself infinitely fascinating beneath the complex veil of history, inviting us to peel away layers, seek deeper connections, and ultimately uncover the truths that resonate through the ages. As the tremors of conflict reverberated through the fabric of the Mediterranean world, we find ourselves immersed in a moment of profound transformation, where the echoes of aspiration collided violently with the harsh realities of power. The tumult culminated at Actium, a battlefield not just of arms, but of conflicting legacies, where Cleopatra and Mark Antony stood against the tide of change wrought by Octavian, their fates entwined yet shadowed by ambition. Here, within the swirling waters of this fateful engagement, the latent fractures of a civilization began to reveal themselves. A once flourishing partnership driven by ideals crumbled under the weight of betrayal and the unrelenting pursuit of dominance, echoing the disillusionment felt throughout the lands they ruled. In these moments, what transpired was a clear reminder of the delicate balance between ambition and consequence. With fierce resolution, Cleopatra fled to her kingdom, abandoning the dreams that had once buoyed her spirit amidst the spiraling currents of impending defeat. The scars of her aspirations ran deep, not only within her but within her people, whose hopes for stability had become entangled with her own ambitions. The emotional atmosphere shifted palpably. A sorrowful melody composed of loss and promise unfulfilled began to play across the streets of Alexandria, the heart of her realm. Cleopatra's return marked the beginning of an introspective descent, where the glow of her earlier ambition dulled into a sustained struggle against the encroaching shadows of the Roman Empire. The grandiosity of her court now stood in stark contrast to the dimming hopes of the populace. Amid these shifting tides of political machinations and personal turmoil, we must explore the lives unfurling beyond the palace walls, those families clinging to fleeting memories of prosperity amidst the uncertainty casting a long pall over their lives. For each citizen, the ideals of Cleopatra's vision were not merely distant ambitions, but a lifeline that would provide reverberations of comfort during the storms of upheaval. As news of their losses reached the attentive masses, a sense of collective déjà vu gripped the air, a community enduring the intricate dance of power, a waltz fraught with desire and despair. Children born beneath the flourishing rays of Egypt's sun were thrust into a world marked by conflict and uncertainty, their futures now inextricably bound to the decisions of rulers whose machinations pulled them along on the currents of ambition. The streets whispered tales of warriors and lovers, yet as celebrations faded and cheers turned to cries of despair, a realization emerged. A fundamental shift was occurring in the understanding of identity, tradition, and power. Just as Cleopatra sought to align Egypt's fate with that of Rome, ordinary citizens engaged in their own adaptations, navigating a landscape that was as rich and complex as the Nile itself. Families sought their own paths through bands of trade and mercantile endeavors that crisscrossed the sands of time, often allowing for symbiosis between cultures, an intricate dance that both challenged and reaffirmed identity. The Ptolemaic driving Cleopatra to project authority slowly fragmented into a mosaic of emerging realities, Egyptian identity threaded not solely through royalty, but interwoven with every artisan, farmer, and merchant. Amid this tapestry of adaptation, another layer unfolds. The mechanisms of survival under the shadows of political wrangling began to take shape. In the wake of Actium, as Cleopatra navigated the intricacies of shifting allegiances, the institutions designed to support her vision faltered. The political machinery that had once thrived on collaboration began to suffocate under the weight of unmet expectations and an increasingly hostile environment. The fatigue of governance seeped into the bones of a ruling class once imperious in their dominion, now faced with the inevitability of fragmentation, lingering resentments, and the specter of a changing world beyond their grasp. What had once been a flourishing confluence of cultures, disparate yet intertwined in the dance of politics and commerce, now showed signs of decline. The looming presence of Roman power, with its firm grasp upon the reins of imperial ambition, dumbed the vibrancy of local traditions and institutions. As Cleopatra sought to revive a legacy both hers and Egypt's, the people found themselves swept into a narrative they could neither fully comprehend nor control. The whispers of identity, laced with the ashes of nostalgia, began filtering through the very heart of Alexandrian society. Each heartache resonated with the awareness that histories were being rewritten, voices fated to fade into obscurity, cultural memories on the verge of being lost. In the quiet wake of defeat, the emotional landscapes of Cleopatra's Egypt transformed. The weight of disillusionment permeated the air, weaving together diverse lives into a haunting refrain, an awareness of how swiftly moments could slip away, irrevocably lost to time and circumstance. Daily life persisted, albeit redefined, where the roles of men and women shifted within the intricacies of survival that sought comfort amidst chaos. The households that fed off the vibrancy of cultural exchange now played host to muted celebrations, as families banded together to navigate an uncertain future that defied the once seductive charms of political power. Amid these transformations, we witnessed the profound effect of absence upon the landscape, a lingering void where Cleopatra's reign once stood, her story simmering along the fringes of memory. Here, within the shadows of transition, we explore how the collective discontent of her people evoked a longing for stability amidst fragmentation. These memories, crafted through experience, now resided within the very marrow of Egyptian identity, intertwining aspirations with historical struggles in a beautiful yet melancholic fabric of existence. As Cleopatra turned inward, enveloped in both personal and political despair, her image began to shift in the eyes of her people, no longer solely the seductress of myth, but a figure grappling with the complexities of circumstance and consequence. The glamour of her court was fading into the intimate stories shared in hushed tones, laden with the weight of longing and loss, a tapestry echoing with ideals, aspirations now quietly refracted through the lens of a changing world. The emotional atmosphere shifted again. This time it lingered with the resonance of her desire to maintain power against insurmountable odds, invoking a sense of empathy within the citizens whose hopes had been woven into her narrative. As the tides of history unfurl beneath the weight of our shared narrative, we begin to see how the emotional reverberations echo not only across distant shores but across generations, culminating in a dialogue between past and present. Cleopatra's life casts shadows that bridge infinite divides, illustrating the complexities of leadership and long-standing struggles entangled within the human condition. She becomes both a symbol of aspiration and of caution, a reflection of the hopes and despair intermingled through time. Each crowd silently held together by the unbroken thread of their shared fates, mirrored Cleopatra's own journey. In this phase of soft decay, what remains is a profound testament to the transformative power of history itself, where individuals seek to redefine their roles within the broader currents of a society that churns relentlessly forward. Each whisper filtering through the sands of time compels us to reconsider what has been lost, both for Cleopatra and for those who would follow in the aftermath of her aspirations. As we delve deeper into the consequences of her choices, there lies the burgeoning promise of a legacy still veiled in both mystery and understanding, a poignant lingering weight wrapped in fabric that delicately binds all who bear witness to the lessons etched into the annals of time. As we turn the page on this chapter of human ambition and aspiration, the sense of bittersweet irony remains palpable, an invitation to ponder how the passing of time reshapes not only rulers, but the very tapestry of existence itself. And while Cleopatra's tale jolts us into reflection on identity, power, and resilience, it urges us forward into realms where we are asked to confront the timeless tale of struggle and survival, shaping destinies against the relentless tide of history, an echo that resonates across the ages, forever reverberating with the question of what it truly means to leave a legacy unbound by the strictures of time. As the last whispers of Cleopatra's reign settled into the silence of history, we are confronted with the profound realization that the legacy of this enigmatic queen extends far beyond the fleeting glories of power and passion. The streets of Alexandria now echo with a melancholic harmony, where once voiced ambitions fade, giving way to the quiet persistence of a culture resiliently adapting to the shadows of its past. What remains in the aftermath is not merely the isolation of defeat, but a landscape marked by intricate narratives interwoven with generations, stories of survival, of human spirit that refuses to surrender to the relentless march of time. The ruins that dot the ancient city stand as silent sentinels, cradling memories old and new within their fractured marble. These remnants of a once glorious civilization tell a tale of transformation. In the absence of Cleopatra's rule, how did the citizens of Alexandria seek solace in the identity they carved out amid shifting tides of influence? Each column and crumbling wall captures the legacy of a life intertwined with the land itself, whispers of trade and belief that now echo in the here and now, blending together like the currents of the eternally flowing Nile. As the sun sets over these hallowed grounds, we are invited to reflect, not just on the life of one woman, but on the vast tapestry of human experience that she represents. Cleopatra, caught in the web of her era, sought to bridge the worlds of ambition, identity, and love, but ultimately became a part of a continuum that stretches infinitely in both directions through the river of time. Her story, while unique in scope, serves as a reminder, a microcosm of our own ambitions and failures, aspirations and losses. The emotional landscape of her life continues to resound within the hearts of those who would learn from her journey, illustrating the undeniable truth that history is not a linear path. It ebbs and flows much like the very waters of the Nile that once nourished her reign. In the echoes of her ambition, we witness the harsh realities faced by ordinary lives, those who labored under the weight of expectation, yet also embraced the threads of culture and hope that Cleopatra fostered through her legacy. The celebrations, the traditions, and even the daily rituals that constitute the heartbeat of Alexandria retained fragments of her spirit, allowing them to endure even as the rulers came and went, shifting alliances often leading to historical forgetfulness. It is within these cultural continuities that we uncover the strength of human tenacity, a quiet refusal to let the stories of our lives dissolve into the silence of time. It is poignant to consider how the memory of Cleopatra has been reshaped through centuries of reinterpretation, her legacy continually negotiated between the extremes of passion and political manipulation, beauty and intellect, femininity and power. Over the ages, the image of this legendary figure has evolved, reflecting the values, struggles, and aspirations of those who have turned their gaze upon her from the distant places of memory. This cultural inheritance pulsates through artistic expressions, literature, and discussions surrounding female agency, where Cleopatra has been both vilified and celebrated, representing a spectrum of human experience that transcends her own lifetime. The intersections of these narratives carve a profound silence, echoing the complex relationship between historical figures and the times that define them. Through the softening lens of history, we begin to grasp how information is selectively preserved, forgotten, or reframed, a quiet commentary on the mutable nature of memory itself. In witnessing Cleopatra's life, we find an invitation to explore not only the power dynamics of her world, but also an acknowledgement of our own unspoken legacies today. Her journey becomes a mirror that reflects our aspirations, our desires for agency, and our struggles against the tides of time, speaking to the humanity that resides within us all. As we traverse this expansive terrain of legacy, it becomes clear that Cleopatra's story is far from an isolated spectacle. It exists within a lineage of countless figures, men and women alike, who have occupied the space of power and ambition, all contesting against the neglected echoes of those forgotten. Their accomplishments, their love affairs, their quest for identity remind us that the essence of history lies not only in rulers, but in the fabric of society, the intertwining lives threading through the tapestry of existence that so often fades into obscurity. Ancient monuments rise and fall, but the soul of a civilization is immortalized in the tales of its people, their unsuspecting resilience shining through the veil of historical amnesia. We sense this continuity as we wander through the remnants of Cleopatra's Alexandria, where shadows of past anxieties dissolve into the plains of human experience. Here, the subtle interplay of light and dusk illuminates the enduring influence of cultural survival, painting each moment with the echoes of a collective dream, a shared path towards understanding the essence of our humanity. In this contemplative space, history sheds its burdens, allowing us the gentle tranquility to witness the interplay between time and memory, a dance that cradles the stories of beloved faces long faded into silence. As we take our final steps through this journey, the somber beauty of their legacies intertwines with our recognition of the cycles of life, as the unresolved tension between remembrance and oblivion remains a quiet anthem echoing within us all. Thus we close the chapter, yet remain poised at the edge of reflection, willing to embrace the nuances of all that history imparts. The weight of Cleopatra's legacy continues to linger, evoking a sense of wonder among the ruins, beckoning us to listen closely to the whispers swirling in the dusty air. What we carry within us now transcends mere observation. It becomes a transformative catalyst, urging us to bridge the past with the present, where the human heart still longs for connection amid the noise of modern existence. As twilight descends upon this place, the final notes of Cleopatra's tale play softly, a lullaby composed through time, echoing the stories of love and loss woven into the shared narrative of humanity. We are invited to ponder not merely the life of a single queen, but the identities and dreams of countless souls who walked the earth, each leaving their mark upon the canvas of existence. And as the night gently envelops us, we feel the lingering sense that the essence of those who came before still dances in the air around us, even as we move forward in search of our own stories yet to be told.